This may be one of my favorite times as we close out everything. We're going to remove the chairs and we're going to talk about how Mars will unite the world. And as they do that, I want us to sort of think about the Mars, that red, enigmatic red planet beckons us with its mysteries and untold wonders. It holds the potential to unlock the secrets of our own origins and inspire generations to come. But it is through collaboration and cooperation that we will transform this vision into reality. Together, we will witness the remarkable achievements of humanity in space exploration. So here's the admonition. Let's stand united, knowing that the challenges we face are not insurmountable. It is through collective effort, shared knowledge, and the merging of diverse perspectives that we will overcome these hurdles and pave the way for our Martian Odyssey. May we continue to collaborate, to learn, and to inspire. Together, let's forge a path to Mars, not just as nations, but as one united humanity. Usually when I say things like that in public settings and give speeches, someone always says, oh, that sounds entirely too optimistic. But I will tell you that if I err, I will err on that side of optimism because I believe fully that all of you gathered here and the many speakers and wonderful people we've had the last 3 days are examples par excellence of what that means to not only love knowledge and science and exploration, but to love each other. And so I will stand on that, and I will see you on Mars with my arms wide open going, Grandma is here, come on over. So this next panel that we have, we're going to talk about how Mars will unite the world. The illustrious, beautiful voice of Matt Kaplan will moderate this, and along with his body as well, I suppose. How about we come on out with our fantastic guests who are going to talk to us and share their perspective of how that's going to happen. Come on out, Matt.
Thank you, Janet. All right. If you've been at any of the recent Humans to Mars summits, I'm going to go way over here, you know that this has become kind of a tradition. So look at this crowd. I mean, it's a motley crew without the guitars. This is how we finish up, with a lot of passion and a lot of excitement for Mars. And so we have this terrific group, most of whom, maybe all of whom, you've seen on stage at some point. It's all lightning round now. I won't try to introduce everybody. I'm going to let them do that themselves. If you've seen the program, you know that the theme for now is, I put it as a question, can Mars unite all of us on Earth? Can Mars play a role in that? So I'm going to start at this end. Folks, you've got both microphones, right? Oh, that's right. You can keep it, Anna, because Anna's the only person who has a couple of slides. We're going to start at this end, and as you heard, you got 2 minutes to introduce yourself and to tell us your thoughts about whether this red planet that's millions, tens of millions of miles away can help unite those of us here on Earth. And we start with?
Hello, my name is Sean Bartello.
Right up here.
Hello, my name is Sean Bartello. And I think Mars can unite the world because it's a common goal for all of the nations in the world. It is quite hard for all the nations, though, to work together. But I think that since the Apollo missions got together the USA, the Mars missions will be able to get together the whole world. And I'm very interested in being able to get into astronomy, and I've found 17 asteroids, and I've seen galaxies no one else has seen. And it just shows how small our little world is. So we need to explore Mars, and it will get all the world together. And I'd like to thank special thanks to Janet Ivey and ExploreMars for making this all possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. All right. How's that for a good start? Kirby.
Yes, thanks, Matt. I'm Dr. Kirby Runyon. I'm a planetary geologist, but more importantly than that, I'm just a giant space nerd. I get to explore strange new worlds for a living. That was for you, Melissa. And so I literally get to do geologic mapping on the Mars and the Moon and other places like that. But I also have a company that's designed to share the passion, beauty, and joy of space exploration with anybody. I literally get to train astronauts in planetary geology in New Mexico. And Mars is going to unite us, I think, because with space in general, people are moved by the transcendent awe of space exploration. There's something it does to our psyche, to our spirit. And we're going to replace the term moonshot with Mars shot. And it's not just going to be governments, it's also going to be companies and individuals as well. There's going to be a strong unifying theme, I think, as people pursue this sense of transcendence. Mars also, I'm a geologist, it's got a rocky landscape that's familiar but also very alien. And so I think people have strong touchstones to places on Earth that Mars reminds them of, but it's also going to have that alien twist to it. So thank you.
Kirby, and that's why we knew that you'd be a good part of this group. You know, Janet said backstage, this is what Mars is going to look like someday. Only if we do it right, with this kind of diversity that you see represented up here. Lee.
Yeah, so my name is Lee. I'm a filmmaker and a pilot. My company is called Flying Ostrich Media down in Florida. And I have kind of an unpopular opinion. I don't think Mars is the next giant leap. I think we're in the midst of it right now. And that's space commercialization. How many of us have flown in giant metal birds to get over here, which is kind of an out of this world concept in and of itself, but that was impossible just over 100 years ago. So right now, getting space commercialization underway, everyday people going to space, one of which is with us right now. And using that unifying tool that we have, space travel, commercial space travel, the private space race, to get to Mars, I think that is going to be something that brings us together. It's a literal goal in the sky, and excited to be a part of it with all these amazing people. So
Thank you, Lee. Somebody pointed out backstage, that we have two spaceship or Starship pilots on stage right now. Lieutenant, please do Starfleet proud.
Yes, I feel like I just spoke to all of you because I did. But again, Melissa Navia, I play Erica Ortegas on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2 coming out very soon. And I keep telling everybody the cast is as excited as all the fans are for it to debut. So please look out for that. I mean, I think, you guys just heard me a little while ago. I absolutely think it can. I think any shared goal unites people. And going back again to story, the power of story, the power of stories is that space exploration is something both familiar, right? Because, every night we look up at the stars. It's something that we all share in this world, and yet also something alien, something that there is something out there that we know we want to reach, we can reach, but what's going to happen when we reach it? And so Mars is that bit of imagination, something that can spark us to new heights, problems that we need to solve. And if we continue to bring out of conferences like this to the world and let people know that they have to think beyond just being an astronaut gets you to space. All the professions and the industries and the expertise that make our world run and make it run well and sometimes not so well, which is why then we need to fix things. But all those people that make that happen, those are the people who we're also going to need to get us to Mars and to get us to live on a place like Mars. Like we were talking about motherhood before. Like what is motherhood here on Earth? But what does motherhood look like in reality one day when we are living somewhere other than Earth? And it sounds like sci-fi, but it is at the root of it is sci-fi. So I absolutely think it does. I think it's one of the greatest stories, and I'm happy that people like everyone up here and everyone out there are working on it because things are possible, definitely.
Thank you, Melissa. Mac, we'll start passing that down from you. I should say, I don't know if you've been acknowledged on stage, but Mac, every year, is back there wrangling the people like us who have to get on and off stage, and a big part of Explore Mars.
Oh, thank you. I mean, after being inspired by everyone here, when I grow up, I want to pilot a starship. That's what I want to do. But actually, that is true. It's really Sian that gave me hope that I can do this one day. Our very own explorer Mars, Sian Proctor, went to space. How cool is that? And not only went to space, the first African-American woman to pilot a spaceship. That is amazing. And whether it's fiction, whether it's reality, it's just so inspiring that we can all do it. And that's the question here. Can going to Mars unite us? I don't want to talk about I think there's precedent for that. Our very own Explorer Mars is Dr. Tanya Harrison, co-authored a book about that called For All Humankind, where she interviewed people from all over the world who witnessed the landing of Apollo 11, where Neil and Buzz are walking on the moon, and everyone from all over the world are saying, we did it, we made it, we as humanity. And that was precedent, that was real, and it happened, and it's going to happen again when we all go as a planet to Mars.
And it's why we now say where no one has gone before instead of where no man has gone before. So, Anna, people have been watching you for 3 days do your interviews out there in that beautiful big lobby area. You're the only person who has some pictures to show us. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop up at that one, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself. So I am Ana Cristina Olvera. I'm Mexican, and I'm all about connecting Latin America and Hispanics with this amazing world, and not just space, but also science, and making them know that they can be here as well. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity. And now, as a director of digital marketing and communications for Stellar Access, we're also paving the way to connect everyone with space, because we need everyone, as you all said, and representation is very important, and also, but not only representation, but also having paths and very clear ways in which you can join. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. So we go on now to the future. We started with Sean. Rohan?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Rohan Dugad. I'm a junior in northern New Jersey. And next to me is AJ Caesar, my teammate for our team in the Mars Innovation Challenge. A couple hours ago, you might have seen our presentation. The competition was hosted by ExploreMars Incorporated, so thank you for that. And we were fortunate enough to be the overall winners. So that's
tied. Oh, yeah, shout out Barnabas, of course.
Yeah, we tied for first place. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. My stance on this is that I think that it will definitely unite humanity, because the way I see it is that we tend to sometimes, as like, it's just kind of in our nature to get hyper focused on the details of life. Like, I'll turn on the news or I'll read about it, that like all these things that won't be as significant as we make them seem today in the future. And I'm reminded of the reality when I think about that pale blue dot photo taken by the Voyager 1 spacecraft, which is just a reminder of how small we are in the universe, how much we have yet to explore, and how things that we think are important today aren't as important as we say that they might be. And though it might, like, you know, there's other ways to look at this, that this could spark territorial disputes or capitalization on resources, and it could divide us further. But the way I see it, and I'm kind of optimistic, is that people will see it the way I do, which is that it's this aspirational accomplishment, that not an economic endeavor, and something that we can all be proud of, that to say that humanity did this, and we all did this one day.
Thank you, Rohan. AJ.
Yeah, so thanks, Rohan, for the introduction. Like you said, I'm a senior at the same high school in Basking Ridge, and similar to Rohan, I think that Mars can unite the world if we do it right. I mean, I only feel safe sharing this because I'm among space nerds here, but strewn across my basement, you would find the front page newspaper from the New York Times from the day the Challenger exploded, the day Apollo landed on the moon. And just sort of seeing that, I realized how strong of a unifying force nationally these missions were in the second half of the 20th century. However, by that same note, they were also disunifying on an international scale. So from that sort of aspect, I feel that now that we're beyond going to the moon, now we're going to Mars, we have a chance to sort of make up for that and unify not just across the United States, but across the world on this journey to the red planet. I would also say that, youth education and increasing youth interest in Mars is critical to this endeavor. Unfortunately, I would say I was a few of the young people that watched the SpaceX Starship launch the other day, and I'm telling everyone, this is the biggest, most powerful rocket of all time, and everyone around me is like, okay. And I just think there was a lot of interest in space during that time in the second half of the 20th century when we were going to the moon, and that sort of tapered off in the last, 1 to 2 decades. But I think if we can work to, educate more young people about space, I applaud the work of Janet and everyone else here who is working with young people to increase their interest in going to Mars. It can become a unifying force and sort of serve as an example of how we can unite globally to solve challenges not just up there, but also here. Solve challenges such as global poverty, climate change, and other things that require worldwide cooperation.
So it's our job. We are deputized to give the good news, to share what my boss Bill Nye calls the PB&J, the passion, beauty, and joy of space and science. Lisa, you feel all that.
My name is Lisa, the Landstronaut, founder of Landstronaut Incorporated. Everything we do is Landstronauty. So let me tell you, I am an astronaut candidate for Space for Humanity, and I've probably done a lot of things that you'd be like, well, how'd you do that? Where'd you go that? So I'm just gonna let you know that I'm a nuclear disruptor, and if I am, then it's always that last person in the back that nobody looks at that's probably the glue. I'm going to tell you that right now. So on my astronaut journey, that's what it's been like. It's been super sick. So so at a conference, right, I met this guy. This guy was deaf, but I didn't know he was deaf. I was sitting behind him, and they were talking about the Orion capsule. What no one knew in the room is that I helped design the rocket engine for the Orion capsule, right? So they were talking about inclusion for people who are handicapped. And I said, well, that makes no sense budget-wise, because then we'll have to put a whole nother thing. Let's say if someone is blind, you'd have to put a whole nother row inside the capsule. And we're trying to go from like 4 people. Now it's going to be crammed to maybe 3 because you have all these electronics we didn't account for. This is a real thing. So you have to go above and beyond to prove that you sitting there as a deaf person or a blind person, that someone would have to make way for you. And then I thought about it. When I was underwater doing scuba diving, the disorientation just by sound is very important. So who better than to give me feedback about microgravity and sound? A deaf person. But if you sat there and you said, oh no, humanity is only focused on these people going to Mars, or you're missing the whole thing. Just like you might miss the fact that I'm gonna come out with a rap song soon, so hey.
And one of the most inspiring panels over the last 3 days was that accessibility, making space accessible to all of us, because we all, demonstrated by that, have something to contribute. Justin.
Hi, my name is Justin Park. I've gotten pretty lucky. I got to do my postgraduate study at the International Space University. I've worked at a couple of NASA centers as an intern and consultant, and I was an early investor in Bitcoin, which allowed me to start my own space education company. I was asked to talk about sports in space today because sports is actually going to create a huge amount of value in space. It's also something that's going to normalize space, I think. Nobody wants to see billionaires go to space. But I'd also be remiss not to tell you guys about a philosophy that I believe in. I think that space is actually the perfect place to unite the religions of the world. I believe that instead of a day of reckoning, we'll see a day of reconciliation. and a temple for God that isn't bound to earth. This is an opportunity for peace that may never come again. You can feel it in your heart that it's the right thing to do. Blessing the solar system with God's presence solves the existential equation of why are we here? It isn't about money or power or control. It's about paying homage to a higher power. I believe that our calling is actually to create a light on the lunar surface or Mars that is so bright you can see it from Earth. This new symbol will remind us of who we came from and where we're going. It is a beacon of hope for people that are feeling lost. You'll be able to look up and remember that God is watching over us, that we aren't all destined to die here, that with technology and exploration we can save ourselves and Mother Nature. I think God has destined us for great things, and with the help of millions and billions of prayers, we can give a inspiration to a world that is in drastic need of a new guiding light.
Thank you, Justin. And don't forget what Ray Bradbury told us, we are the Martians, or we will be. All right, she who needs no introduction, the other pilot on stage, she drove a dragon. Hit it, Sian.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure to be here, and I definitely think that Mars will unite humanity, but the reality is there's no better place than home. Planet Earth is the best planet in the solar system, but as humanity stretches from the moon to Mars, what that does is, I like to say, solving for space solves for Earth. And so human space exploration is all about efficiencies in food, water, energy, shelter, waste management, all the things that we have wicked problems with here on our planet. Food, water, energy, all of those. But all of the technology that's going to push humanity to the moon and Mars, that technology and that ingenuity, that's happening here on our beautiful planet with all the people in this room and beyond. And so we think about how that's going to unite us is that if we can all recognize the bond between solving for space, solving for Earth, and the reasons why that matters, and share those reasons, because a lot of the world doesn't understand the connection of why we need to go to Mars. And how that pushing humanity in that direction actually is what we need to do in order to solve a lot of the problems that we have here on Earth. And even things that you don't think about. We were talking about food, energy, water, and those are, basic needs, scarcity ideas. But even when we're talking about crew cohesion and how do we get along and how do we learn to send diverse or Jedi crews to space, that concept. And so I think one of the things that we can all take away is that messaging that when people ask you, like, why are we spending all this money on going back to the moon and going on to Mars, because we have so many issues here on our planet, I hope that you'll say solving for space solves for Earth.
A great finish. We are moments away from the end of the 2023 Humans to Mars Summit. I have just one other question, and you're not required to answer, but that question is, how do we share that PB&J, that passion, beauty, and joy, with, like you guys said, the rest of your colleagues at your school? I mean, how do we best represent what space and exploration represents to, I think it's safe to say, all of us on this stage? So raise a hand, we'll get a microphone over to you if you want to respond. Kirby's one. Anna, go.
Okay, so I think there's two ways. One is talking to everyone in their own language, and I'm not speaking about Spanish or English or anything, but about their experience, their role in the world, and how can they contribute to this adventure. So if you're talking to engineers, then you want to speak their language and tell them how they can contribute to this new adventure. If you're talking to students, you need to talk their language. If you're talking to every kind of people in the world. So we need to make an effort as the space community to speak many different languages, not just our language, so we can include everyone, because everything we do out there is a representation of us all. So we need to include everyone and learn their language to communicate what we're doing there. And the other way is opening new paths for them to participate. It's not enough to tell them what we're doing and how we're doing it, but also how can they participate. So make an effort every time you are working on a new project about thinking, how can we open a path for different people than me, different people than the ones around us. So I think that's the two ways we can share.
Thank you.
What we
Excellent,
feel.
Anna. Pass that down here to Kirby. Was there somebody with a hand up over there? Yeah, Justin.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. There was the panel earlier on, I think Christine Bernhardt, if she's here still, it was an amazing thing on how there's just no elementary education curriculum in Earth and space science. And I think this can be an organic ground up and top policy down solution to really inspiring these elementary kids in both Earth and space science and getting them when they're young. Space is a melting pot for all the sciences, and not just science, but art as well, the A in STEAM. And I think that's one of them. Another one is in the space experience economy. People can choose to do space-themed entertainment, space-themed vacations, and you can go to the national parks and see elements of the moon or Mars in those national parks in the analog geology. And so getting those aspects of space infused into the everyday parts of our life, in the arts, culture, entertainment, and spirituality, what I call ACEs, is one way to do that, I think, to really get Mars in our blood, to get space in our blood more.
Yeah, really about community development, engaging with sports. I think a lot of people can name the coach, the assistant coach, everybody on the team. You ask the average person, name a person on the International Space Station, they can't do it. Sports is really the thing that's going to normalize space, where people will get jerseys and mugs and all these things where they're engaged with these space athletes in a new and exciting way. And at the same time, this panel is about bringing people together and uniting. Sports can unite people across countries, right? North Korea, they are part of the Olympic Games, and it's just a way of cutting across and bringing people together in a way that can't be done in any other way.
Anybody else want to get in on this?
Yeah, me.
You go, and then pass that microphone down to the guys.
Okay, well, I could only be me, right? There is no spacesuit for me. There's a spacesuit for a 6'1" man. I'm not gonna change who I am to fit a spacesuit, so I decided to design it. Point blank. And I also need to protect my ovaries from frying in a cosmic microwave. And so, this is the point. If you're you have your place within yourself, you have a message, and you have a purpose. All of it comes full circle. If I chose to be, a 6'1" man, which I physically, I guess now in 2023. But the point is, anyone else who looks even close to like me, they wouldn't be able to embark on that journey unless they decided to design what it is that I'm designing. So in all fairness, if everyone just is themselves, then there's a place in space for everyone.
Rohan.
So the way I see it is that there's two things that need to be done. So kind of like what you said, there needs to be like the prospect of reaching Mars and developing a spacecraft or a form of transportation to get us to Mars, I think needs to be introduced to students and kids alike at a much younger age. We hear about in our classrooms about Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and everything that happened with the moon landing, but Mars isn't mentioned. And I think that needs to change for that interest to be sparked from a young age. Like me and AJ can relate that we've had this interest in space from a young age, and it might not have been possible for us to be what we've done with that interest today if we weren't introduced to it at a young age. And I think it needs to be more accessible to everyone, like others have said, so that it doesn't seem like some far-fetched idea that isn't worth putting in time and effort for.
Can I add in something real quick? I just wanted to say, you know, sort of wrapping up the whole theme of the weekend, reiterating what's been said time and time again, is like, from a pragmatic point of view, it's easy to say, you know, we have enough problems on Earth that we should be putting money towards. We should be putting money towards, you know, global poverty, towards helping solve climate change and such. But what we've found over and over through every panel is that, you know, getting to Mars is going to help us find solutions to those problems here on Earth. So I think if someone comes after you with that argument that why are we busy trying to get to a planet 170 million miles away when there's problems in our backyard, just getting there will help us solve those problems.
Mac, before you start, anybody else want to jump in? Otherwise, I'm going to give Mac the last word because it's now just past 5:30 here on the East Coast of North America. Nope? All right, go for it.
What are the
PB&J.
PB&J. How many people here are in the space industry today because they are inspired by watching Star Trek? Star Wars,
raise your hand like this.
Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers, any of those inspirational shows that were fiction that really made us want to become space explorers in real life. I have met real astronauts who are choking up and crying because they were starstruck when they met Nichelle Nichols. And these are astronauts who went to space. So to answer your question, we need more people like Melissa on these stages over here to inspire all of us. We can have people talking about thrust to weight ratios for 45 minutes and no one be inspired. But now I want to pilot a starship. That's it. It's my new vision.
That is a great finish. Please give not just this wonderful group, but yourselves a big hand, because if you didn't feel the PB&J, you wouldn't be here. Thank you, everybody. Janet, are we going to get Chris out, or are you going to finish things off for us?
Oh, I don't know where the man is, so I guess it's going to be me.
Come on, Chris.
Chris, where are you? There he is.
There he comes.
Yes, there he is.
All right, we'll stay up here, but thank you, everybody, for indulging us with this wonderful little party that we do at the end of every H2M, and live long and prosper.
Let's give a big shout out and applause to our fantastic crew and staff who
Absolutely. We could not do this. If you've noticed, this conference, not because of Janet and I, this conference probably has the best production value of any conference you probably see in the space community, and that's because of our crew, led by Wade Haller. So,
who's very shy. Wade's 10th year anniversary is happening this H2M. He is the heart and soul of Explore Mars. He keeps us on track. He reminds and prods us. And so Wade is not one for being in the public eye, but a big round of applause for Wade. We love you, Wade!
anyways, we close out. We're happy again to be back in person. It's been a weird few years. We did a smaller conference last year. We're growing again, and we're hoping to be back to our normal size, but a lot of positive things. We've gotten so much great social media impact. I keep hearing all the positive social media that's out there. Everybody that I've talked to has been very happy with the event, the energy and everything. So we want to build on that. We want to make sure hopefully we'll be back here next year, but we'll get back to you on that soon. But we hope you'll follow all of our other programming. As we mentioned earlier, we have a whole bunch of new programming coming up in STEM and looking at tradespeople in space and trying to translate our programming and other programming into all the other languages of the world, not just English. And so it's going to be a busy year. And if you are interested in any of these or know people who might be able to support them, because it all needs funding, please let us know. And if you want to volunteer, we're always looking for help as well.
And ExploreMars.org is the place that you can follow all of those endeavors. There's the man himself, Wade Haller, like going to give him a flip. Yeah. Oh, are you going to come? All right, 10 years.
Here,
Do you want
have
him all?
my mic.
Yeah, all right.
Or not.
10 years.
I'm sorry, I'm just used to working. Are you waiting for me to say something?
Yeah.
Did you introduce me?
I did.
This is Wade.
Well, good evening. Thank you.
Bravo! Inspirational words from Wade Haller.
They do say brevity is the soul of wit. We're going to let all of you guys go on your merry ways. We can't thank you enough. Remember, ExploreMars.org. Thank you all around the globe for watching, and we will see you sometime in the very near future and hopefully next year. Bye, guys.
Bye. And that's a wrap.